The night was silent, except for the rustling of leaves, until a scream tore through the darkness. A young farm girl dangled helplessly from the branches of an old oak tree, her life hanging by a thread. Just as her captors thought their cruelty would go unnoticed, a thunderous roar split the skies above. A helicopter swept in low, its blades shaking the earth beneath them. Inside sat a man with eyes burning in rage, her husband. And what happened in the next few moments would change their lives, and the entire town forever. Clara had grown up on this farm. The soil, the trees, and the animals were her family long before she ever had one of her own. Life was simple, but not easy. She was known in the small town for her kindness, always lending bread to the hungry, milk to the children, and shelter to stray wanderers. Yet kindness often attracts both gratitude and envy. Behind the scenes, dark forces were watching. A group of men from the nearby lumber company had their eyes on her land. The acres were fertile, rich, and perfect for their expansion plans, but Clara refused every offer. This farm wasn't just dirt and grass, it was her legacy, her parents' memory, and now, the foundation of the life she had built with her husband, Captain James Rowe, a decorated army pilot who had returned home after years of service. But one night, when James was away on duty, those men decided to break her spirit once and for all. They stormed her farm, torches lighting the night sky. Clara fought with all the strength she had, protecting her home like a lioness. But they dragged her to the great oak at the edge of her land, the same tree where she used to swing as a little girl, and with cold cruelty, they tied a rope around her neck. The world slowed as she felt the rope tighten. Her lungs burned, her vision blurred, and her soul pleaded for mercy. The men laughed, certain that no one would ever know what became of her, but fate had a different plan. 47 seconds later, the silence shattered. A deafening thump-thump-thump filled the air. The ground trembled, animals scattered, and dust rose in clouds. A helicopter, its powerful lights blazing, descended from the clouds like a judgment from heaven. The men froze, their confidence melting into fear. Clara's fatting eyes opened just enough to see the impossible. Her husband, James, standing at the edge of the chopper door, his face carved in rage, his heart beating only for her. James had felt it in his bones. That evening, thousands of miles away, his mission had ended early, but something tugged at his spirit. He couldn't explain it, only that he needed to get home. Using every connection, every favor owed to him, he rushed into the cockpit of his helicopter and sped across the darkened skies. The faster he flew, the stronger the pounding in his chest grew. And when the familiar fields of his farm came into sight, his blood ran cold. Below, the unthinkable scene unfolded. Clara hung from the tree, her hands clawing weakly at the rope. The men stood beneath her, laughing, unaware of the storm about to descend. James didn't hesitate. His helicopter swooped so low the branches rattled. Dust whipped around the clearing like a sandstorm. With a soldier's precision, he leapt to the ground, sidearm drawn, his boots slamming into the dirt like thunder. "Let her down," he roared, his voice slicing through the chaos. The men stumbled backward, their bravado vanishing as they faced the hardened veteran who had faced battlefields they couldn't imagine. James's eyes burned with a fury no words could describe. He cut Clara free, catching her limp body in his arms as she gasped desperately for air. Her tears wet his shoulder, her trembling fingers clutching at him as though she might never let go again. But it wasn't over. The men, realizing they were exposed, tried to rally their courage. One sneered, "This land doesn't belong to you anymore. Walk away now, or next time, even you won't be enough to save her." James stood tall, Clara safe behind him, and for the first time in their lives, those men understood what true fear meant. They weren't facing a farmer anymore. They were facing a warrior. That night marked the beginning of a battle, not of guns and fire, but of justice, endurance, and love. James vowed not only to protect Clara, but also to show the world that cruelty and greed would never silence the innocent. And in the shadows of that old oak tree, the couple's fight for survival, dignity, and a better tomorrow had only just begun.